Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 375. My opponent kicked off with e4, and I wanted to play a Sicilian. In fact, I wanted to play the dragon, and I got my wish, which brings to mind the old saying, be careful what you wish for. So these are the main moves. My opponent's playing the open Sicilian. I attack the center pawn, he defends it. And now the big choice here, a6 is the Najdorf. Knight c6 is the classical. It's the way I usually play it. E6, the Scheveningen, and Scheveningen, and g6, what I played, the dragon. Okay, bishop e3. It's the main move, and bishop g7. And now the knight really is threatening to come here. There's this little trick if you bring the knight out here too soon, but once you've moved the bishop away from f8, your king can step out of the check by king to f8, and so the trick no longer applies. So f3, knight to c6 is the main move. Okay, you can also castle here, and I think even bishop d7 is a move here. There's a lot of ways to play it. The move order is not critical right here. And then the normal way to continue is with queen d2 and castling queenside. My opponent plays the unusual sideline bishop b5. But you see, well, the engine thinks it's not so bad. Keeps some edge for white. So we're just out of the opening book here. And I have to improvise, but I play the logical move bishop d7. The bishop often wants to go there. Either wants to go to d7 or sometimes to e6. After trading the knight, bishop to e6 can be an idea, particularly if white castles queenside. So queen d2 now, preparing for the castling on the queenside. And we get the opposite side castling. And then a6 kicking the bishop. The bishop drops back to c4. So the bishop could have gone to c4 in one move. So somehow I've got a typical dragon position, but I'm a tempo up. So this should be good. And in fact, the engine confirms that black has a good position here with the move b5, which I played. So just logical expansion. The only trick, the only thing you have to watch out for with b5 is to make sure your knight on c6 is not loose. Sometimes playing these opening moves quickly, you can overlook that little point. I've actually won and lost some games that way. So the bishop drops back to b3, staying on this sensitive diagonal towards my king. And I go knight to a5, chasing the bishop. And he plays the move bishop to d5. And now right here, I guess that's a mistake. I should just take that bishop off. For some reason, I know why. I didn't want to take this because I didn't want the pawn coming here. But let's take a look at this. Knight takes, pawn takes, and then b4 hitting the knight. And it looks like I can recapture that pawn almost immediately. Knight to e4, logical to move the knight forward, and then now knight to c4, hitting the queen and the bishop. Queen to d3. Now let's say I go ahead and grab the bishop, and then rook to c8, queen a5, just continuing developing. So in the long run, I guess this pawn is going to be more of a weakness than a strength. The problem often in these structures is the d-pawn here has advanced a long way, and it prevents the e-pawn, my e-pawn, from expanding, and this can become a real weak spot. But it looks like this is just a good position for black. It's funny, I mean, the engine evaluation is pretty confidently saying black is winning here. The material is even. I do have the bishop pair, so that's part of my advantage, but it must be seeing a way for me to eventually round up this pawn as well. But if you follow these lines out, they don't lead very far. Queen a5, king b1, queen takes d5. Oh, maybe, okay, so maybe I'm immediately winning the pawn back. Queen a5. And then if the knight just drops back. Oh, it's a double attack. That's what I was missing. So queen a5, after all of those exchanges, queen a5 is a double attack, and I'm going to pick up a pawn here, as well as having the bishop pair. So that's the way to do it. So let's see, from this position, right here, I had to make that decision right here. So it's knight takes, pawn takes, then pushing this pawn forward to chase the knight away, jumping the knight into c5, trading it for the bishop, and then finally at the end of all that, queen to a5 forks those two pawns. Okay, well that's a good trick to know. Little too long of sequence to calculate in a blitz game, at least for me. So I play rook c8, the natural developing move. He keeps an edge for white, I guess, because I still have these ideas of taking on d5. And right here, I should probably take on d5 again. Well, no, now my bishop is pinned. Let's see. Bishop takes h6, queen takes h6 is recommended, or e5 or b4, or knight takes d5, still a good move. So I played knight to c4. This is often a logical plan to harass the queen, but yeah, it's just not such a great move, and the position is more or less even here. So I took, which is the, let's see, he took. What happened here? Bishop takes c4. Oh, he took my my knight, and I took back with the rook, and then he should take on g7 here. Instead, he played h4, which is often an idea. And now, yeah, now I can take advantage of the overloaded queen. I really should have spotted this one. This one is not so difficult. The queen is doing two jobs. It's defending the bishop, it's defending the knight, and both pieces are under attack. But if I take the bishop, the queen takes back and the rook defends the knight. Whereas if I take the knight, the only piece that can take back is the queen, and the queen is under threat. So queen takes d4 is forced, and then I pick this up, and it's with check even. So I'm just up a whole piece here. So that's the kind of tactic you have to look out for and spot in a game. Even a blitz game, you can find these things. But I didn't. I played bishop takes h6 first. Queen takes. I was really just, I guess this game provides an example of tunnel vision in chess. I was really just focused on one line, which was what was going on over here on the king's side, worrying about his pawn push. And now I have the ability to take the pawn with my knight if he pushes immediately. And I wasn't really looking at the whole board and seeing the other possibilities. That's the lesson there. Try and see the whole board. Okay, queen to c7. And he plays knight to d5, hitting my queen. Once again, I should just take this guy. Let's check it out here. Knight takes, pawn takes, and then rook to c8, tripling, or queen to c5. So yeah, the engine just likes my position here. If I go for this idea and he just pushes on with h5, trying to bust up my position, it looks like I can take on d4 here. Right. Yeah, this is a cute tactic here because just it removes the defender from the c2 square. So he doesn't have time for h5. He's got to defend this. Say he plays rook c2, typical way to defend. Still rook takes d4. Yeah, this knight is just hanging if this pawn is not defended. So okay, so I'm really breaking through on the c file here. He has to play, after rook c8, he has to play king b1. And then rook takes d4, rook takes d4. I win a pawn here and chase his king around a little bit. Although I did give up the exchange there. It's a bishop against a rook situation. But his king is driven back to the corner. And I can grab another pawn here. So I've got two pawns for the exchange. And his rook is under attack. Rook d to d1, yeah, so he needs to develop his rook and attack my weaknesses here. Yeah, so this would be an interesting position with an edge to black. Okay, so the move I played, instead of playing knight to d5, the move I played was queen to c5, and now the answer has been scrolled off the screen. So after queen to c5, I'll just show you what the move I made. There's a really excellent move for white here. So if you didn't see the video or if you've forgotten it, why don't you take a moment to see if you can calculate out the sequence. What does white play here and what are the next 2 to 3 moves? Okay, yeah, pause the video. You should be able to find this one. Just look for all your checks, captures, and threats, and you'll spot this one. So pause the video and check it out. See if you can figure out the whole thing. See if you can calculate the whole thing out. It's really a good calculating exercise and not too deep. So I definitely think you can figure it out. Okay, I'm going to give the answer away. After queen c5, It's actually a mate in 3, and there's just no way out. Starting with knight takes e7 check. So I just left this e7 pawn defended. I was mentioning how it can be a weakness, and here I just left it undefended. In fact, even in this position, it's not really defended at all. So that's another point in getting rid of this knight, is it's not threatening to take on e7. But anyway, after queen c5, knight takes e7. Yeah, it's just a mate in 3. The king only has one move. Queen is covering all of these squares. Nobody can take the knight, so this is forced. And now queen takes f8. The rook is just hanging. And if you saw this far, you know you're up material. But the king still has no moves. All these squares are covered. So the only thing I can try is interposing the knight. And then queen takes g8. An easy mate. So that's how the game ended. So a cute game. And just an example of how sharp the how sharp the dragon variation can be. So right in this position, I go from having an edge with knight takes d5 to losing to a mate in 3. So keep an eye out for those sudden and swift attacks. And of course, he still has the idea of pushing the h-pawn forward and opening up things. So he still has long-term ideas for the attack too. Still a very sharp position, but I've done the right thing in terms of getting counterplay on the c-file. So the game was reasonably, I missed a tactic early on, but other than that, it was reasonably well played to this point. But well, if you allow yourself to get mated, that's all she wrote. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.